Hello everybody, it is me, Real American Politics, here today with a new video. And today, we gotta take a look at the new Senate prediction video for the month of October. Now, I know I did one a couple weeks ago, but I decided I wanted to update it, because some things have changed and I want to go a little bit more in detail for more of the battleground slash kind of competitive Senate races. So, this is a Senate map. Right? These are all the Senate races that we have this year. In Georgia, we have the special election, etc. So, to start off with, we're going to start with all the safe, I guess you could say all the safe Senate seats. For Democrats, that's going to be Oregon, Illinois, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Delaware. Now, with Massachusetts, there's actually some polling out there where Ed Markey's not doing too hot there. He's winning, but he's not winning by the margin he should be. Now, I don't believe them at all, but if Republicans can make gains in Massachusetts, maybe when Warren's term is up, they could try to go for an all-in bid there. But I highly doubt those are accurate, but if they are accurate, I think that Republicans should put a lot of effort in trying to do something in Massachusetts. And Virginia's safe. Warner's going to win, barring a total collapse from him. So for the Republican states, it's going to be Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska, Oklahoma. Texas, guys, Cornyn is not going to lose. Cornyn's going to win by 10 points very least, no matter what. Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama. No, these two states are not likely. Don't give me this nonsense it is. Tennessee, Kentucky, again, Mitch McConnell's not going to lose no matter what. He's going to win by at least 10, 15 points for sure. And, of course, the state of West Virginia. So this is the safe Republican, safe Democrat seats. Now, there's some states that seem like they should be obviously Republican or obviously Democrat, but I'll get into that. So first of all, we're going to take a look at the likely Republican states. And the first likely Republican state is going to be Alaska. Now, the reason Alaska's likely is Dan Sullivan actually did not do too well in 2014. Now, the biggest reason is Alaska is a very libertarian state. This is a state where, they don't really like Republicans at all. Like, I guess you shouldn't say that. They more so like libertarians over Republicans. And Sullivan won by 3.5 points, or 3.2%. I do think that he will win by a likely margin. I think he'll win by 6, 7, maybe 8 points. And that's just me being realistic, because the only way, realistically, Sullivan would lose is if, basically, Trump loses the election by 10 points. Alright? That's basically the most possible way that Dan Sullivan can lose. Now, the next likely Republican state is Kansas. Now, Kansas is an interesting state to say this year. You don't have Pat Roberts running this cycle. Instead, you got Roger Marshall running. And really, I think Roger Marshall will win by 9, 8 points. Roberts really, I think, had a better appeal in Kansas. Not so much more, but Roger Marshall just will win by a slightly less margin. I think that Roger Marshall will win by 8, 9 points at the end of the day. Biggest reason for this is I do think that this part of Kansas right here will trend a little bit Democrat. Place like Shawnee County, the outskirts of Kansas City. This part right here will trend a little bit Democrat. Just this part of the state in general will trend probably a point or two Democrat. But with Trump on the ballot, he's going to max out big time in the western part. So it kind of cancels out, so I do think he's going to win by 9, 10 points. The next likely Republican state is South Carolina. This is nonsense that this is even competitive. We saw that video earlier today. Graham is not losing. You would need to flip Georgetown. You have to flip Horry. You would have to flip Berkeley. That's just not happening. He's going to win by a likely margin. Now for Georgia, the special election, it's going to go likely no matter what, who wins. Alright, that's kind of obvious, I think. There's no way the Democrat will win there if the Democrat even wins a special election. It's just not feasible in Georgia. I do think the Republican will win by 6, 7 points, for sure. Now for the likely Democrat states, really, I would take a look at 2 states. First of all is New Mexico. I mean, there is ground you could possibly make in, like Socorro County, Grant County, Higley County, Colfax, etc. You could probably make gains here and try to max out in the more Republican part of the state. But I do see it that Democrats will win the state probably by 8, 9 points in the Senate election. I don't think it's safe. I think that's a tad bit unrealistic, but we're going to put it as a likely Democrat state. Now we got New Hampshire. This is a state that should be a pure toss-up. Well, first of all, it's a complete garbage can the Republicans are running. And plus, Gene is fairly popular in New Hampshire, and if this was Sununu, I think Chris Sununu would win in a landslide in New Hampshire. But it's not. It's just some traditional Northeastern Republican. And that's why I think it's going to be a likely Democrat state. If it was like Sununu, I think it would be a complete toss-up. But yeah, that is the likely states. Now we're getting to the lean states. So we're going to start in the great state of Colorado. Now, Gardner is actually a pretty good candidate for Colorado. He has a better appeal to the suburbs of Denver than Trump ever could. And he could do very well in this part of the state, where Trump's base is. And he's going to for sure do better in places like Adams, April County. And really, he just has a better appeal in this part of the state than Trump does. Now, it's really going to come down to whoever can win the bellwether of Larimer County. And personally, I do think Hickenlooper will win it at the end of the day. But I don't think it's going to be such a large margin like people expected. I think Gardner's going to put up a good fight. But just the only way he can realistically win is if he could somehow do better in Adams County, do better in April County, and keep the bellwether as Republican. And try to keep Trump's gains he made, like Pueblo County, Hillsborough County, Elmos County, and max out in the rural part of the state. That's the only way Gardner could possibly win, but it's unlikely. Now you got Montana. This is a ridiculous race that people are saying that's a toss-up. It is not. It's going to be a little bit closer than it should be. Steve Daines won it by 18 last time. I do think he's going to do a lot weaker in this part of the state. This is where the Democrats usually do the best in. These more just like Roosevelt County, Lewis and Clark County, and Cascade County. These are the counties that Democrats usually do better in. And personally, I do think Daines will win. It's ridiculous that people are saying that's a toss-up. It is not. When you weigh the polls, Daines is always up by 4, 5, 6, 7, even sometimes 8 points. It's kind of a nothing burger, I guess you could say. It's nothing. You're not going to get anything out of that race. You're not going to see Daines lose. The only way Daines would lose is if Trump loses 15 points nationally, really, or 10 points nationally, and he wins Montana by such a small margin. It's the only way Daines could realistically lose. Now, you got the great state of Iowa. This is a race that, same thing as Montana, is ridiculous, but I'm going to put it as lean Republican. Ernest will do a bit better in places maybe like Lynn County and maybe Polk than Trump would, but she would do a little bit worse in his base, which is the western part of the state, but she'll still do good enough. I do think that Ernest will win by 4, 5, 6 points. And realistically, I don't think the numbers are there for Democrats. And yeah, she's probably going to do worse in places like Scott County, Minnesota County, Winneshaw County, Jackson County, etc. She's probably going to lose these counties, but she's going to have enough of Trump's base out here to win the state. So, the last lean Republican state is going to be the state of Georgia. Now, honestly, Purdue, this is a state where it's really going to depend on turnout. And realistically, the numbers are just not there for turnout for Democrats. Now, he's going to do a lot worse in this part of the state right here. But with Trump on that ballot, he's going to probably make those gains up in the more southern rural part of the state. And really, I think Purdue will do a little bit better in more of the suburbs of Atlanta, the excerpts, than Trump will. So I do think they'll put him over the edge. It'll be a little bit too close for Republicans alike, but it will just be enough. Now, this is a controversial decision. Arizona. This is a state where people are saying it's going to be likely Democrat, safe Democrat. It's not. I think Mark Kelly will win, but it's going to be probably by 3-4 points. It's not going to be by a likely margin. That's completely ridiculous that people think that's going to be a likely margin. Now we got the 4 truly competitive Senate races. Now, we're going to start in the great state of North Carolina. Really, I don't see Kel Cunningham winning at all. I did say earlier today I would put this in the lead margin, but for, I guess you could say, realistic reasons, I'm going to just put this as tilt. I'm going to try to underperform Tom Tillis a little bit here. I do think he's going to win the state by 2 points, 3 points maybe. Biggest reason is the western part of the state's going to save him pretty much. And I highly doubt he's going to lose a place like Nash County, Franklin County, Lenoir County, Tyrell County. He's not going to lose these counties. And with Trump on the ballot to help him more this part of the state and this part of the state, he's not going to lose. The number's just not there. I think Tom Tillis will win at the end of the day, and this gives Republicans a majority. I do think this is no matter what going to happen. This election's going to be close, and I do think Tom Tillis will hold on, and this will just give the Republicans just enough of a Senate majority. Now you got 3 more states to look at. First of all, we are going to take a look at the great state of Michigan. You have 2 opposing candidates, to say the least, that appeal to similar areas. Gary Peters, his base is in the counties that Trump did best in. Central Michigan, Upper Michigan, etc. And Josh James, on the other hand, same deal. James appeals to the same area. He does a little bit better than Trump, I think, in the state. So that's why I think he's going to win it. I think he's doing a little bit better in places like Kent County, Oakland County to an extent. I think Macomb is the only county down here I think he'll do a little bit worse in. But I do think these counties down here that Trump didn't do too well in, other than Macomb, he's going to do better than Trump in. Like, not really Wayne, but you get the point. Like Oakland County, he'll do a little bit better than Trump will. So really, it's going to come down to Macomb, and I do think that James will win Macomb at the end of the day, and that's why I'm going to push it as a tilt Republican state. Now we got Minnesota. This is a state that people are saying, oh, there's no way Lewis can win. Well, I'm telling you this for a fact. Lewis will overperform Trump by probably a half a point. If Trump gets a state within a point or half a point, Lewis wins. So really, it's all going to come down to how Trump does in up here in this more of the Iron Range. If Trump can win Carlton and Lake County, I don't think Lewis would win them, but he would borderline almost win them. He's going to do a lot better in Washington, Dakota, Olmsted than Trump will. In my opinion, he's probably going to win Olmsted. And Washington, I think, will be completely down the wire. And if I do think Lewis will win Washington at the end of the day, and that would give him the state. The numbers are just there. And that's why I'm saying Lewis is a sleeper, folks. He's one state where, I'm telling you, it's going to be a surprising flip. Now we got Maine. Oh, boy. If this was a couple months ago, I would tell you would be crazy to say Collins was going to lose. I would have put Collins as a likely margin. Borderline lean. I thought there's no chance he would lose. Well, now I don't know. This is the one Senate race where ranked choice voting is in play. And this is the issue. I do think ranked choice voting will help Collins to an extent, but I don't know how much. You got the Green Party just throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this state. And really, that's probably going to turn out more of the Democrat base in Maine. But the issue is they picked the worst possible candidate. If the Maine Democrats picked someone not Sarah Gideon, all right, a progressive or more left-leaning than Gideon, because Gideon's a neoliberal, Maine would have probably been a lean Democrat state because a margin would have been just too much for Collins to overcome. But you got a neocon / rhino versus a neoliberal. And this is why I'm saying that, for argument's sake, I'm going to say that Susan Collins does lose at the end of the day. I do think it will come down to the opposite wire, but I think Collins will lose just by a point or two. And yeah, this is my current Senate prediction. So, a lot of things are getting interesting. Michigan, Minnesota, North Carolina, Maine. These are the 4 states that determine the Senate. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, hit the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, and let's try to get to 1K subs. Let's do that. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next video. Goodbye.